Another week, another episode with Miss King. And I have walked into a trap. I was going to do this week solo. However, Allie said she wanted to come on to...
Hold the phone. No, I didn't. That's not true.
You did. I said that I was going to do a solo episode talking about this idea that I had, and you're like, just tell me about it. Try to explain it to me.
Not even true. You asked me to join you.
No, you asked me.
As you started. There are like 57 million other things I could be doing right now. Instead, he was like, oh, come on, and I'll just explain whatever strong opinion you have now to you. So, no, you asked me.
We're going to have to agree to disagree. You asked me. I told you that I was doing it by myself, and you wanted to come on. So.
Nope.
Just saying.
Whatever makes you feel good.
Okay. Either way, she's here. I have accepted a trap, which is I'm going to try to explain something to her without mansplaining something to her. So
this is going to be great.
Yeah, we'll see how this goes. This week, I'm going to try to explain my big idea. I have figured out what I want to build my monetizable content on.
I want that on a shirt.
Monetizable content. I don't know how to explain it, but we're going to try. This is episode 8, I think. This is episode 8 of Strong Opinions Weekly Held. Let's do it! Okay. Monetizable content. Let me try to lay some groundwork. If you want to be able to sell content, you've got to have like a core idea.
Like my app.
Maybe. Apps are different than content though. Okay. Content's like kind of like value human based, like gotcha. What is like a mission or something that I believe in that I could build content or like a course or resources, things that I can like make that people would be interested in purchasing because they also agree or believe in the same thing that I believe in. Like
how to leave cabinet doors open and really annoy your wife. Or
I don't know if anybody would want to buy that. Or like taking care of babies.
Oh,
what
like a saint she is.
You don't really think about it too much, but at 3 a.m. in the morning when your baby is screaming because they don't go to sleep on their own.
I've said it time and time again. She can have all of our money.
Our money. But that's what it's like. Like she sells the idea of I can help your kids sleep. That's it. That's the only thing. And every piece of content she makes is about like your kids.
I got it. Yep.
Okay. So there we go. Connected the dots. Well, I found mine. I found what I want to do my content and my ideas and my things all about, because I have wanted, as you know, I've had ideas aplenty over the years.
Let me get out.
I've had ideas aplenty, but none of them have really stuck because one, they either didn't resonate with other people or they didn't like resonate with me. I didn't like feel very strongly about it. I just thought, oh, this might make some money. Let me try it. Or like, oh, I wanted to like just build something to learn a technology. So I'd like build something thinking I could make some money off of it. Yep. But this one's different.
Okay.
This one.
I'm on pins and needles.
Pins and needles. This one I've got, it's like, it's broad. Like it's not like, oh, I had this one cool idea. The idea is... This is going to be a big letdown because it takes some more explaining, but the idea is that software should be personal.
Totally.
Okay. Software should be personal. And there's a few reasons how I've come to this and why I've come to this. Mm-hmm. And I will talk through each of those.
Let's do it.
One of them is that software. See, I knew. I was like, this is why it's gonna be a solo episode. You like don't care at all.
You asked me. You said you wanted to explain it to me.
I did.
So this is what you get.
This is what we get. All right, we're gonna try. But software.
It should be personal.
It should be personal.
Like this conversation we're having is so personal.
So personal.
Right now.
So personal. You know. Okay. So here's why I think this. There is a saturation of software in the market. For a very long time, software products, you could build like a bunch of new things and you didn't have any competitors. Like you could come up with an idea and nobody else would have come up with that idea before. Mm-hmm. And so you could make a lot of money off of your software just from the fact that like you're the first one to have that idea.
Okay, yeah.
So that is no longer the case.
Now, can we press pause for just a second?
Bloop.
Okay. I want you to explain software like you're talking to a kindergartner.
Okay, software. Software is the apps that you use.
Okay, yeah.
Like when you log into Blackboard or on campus.
Yep.
And use those to like upload your photos and do all that stuff throughout the day. That's software.
All right.
Got it? On the same page? On the same page. For all of you listeners.
That was for all of you listeners who don't know what
software
is.
So
I had it on lock the whole time.
Software, so it's very saturated. There are not very many niches or ideas that you can come up with where somebody hasn't already come up with that idea.
Okay.
And in fact, in most places, you won't be able to find a lot of niches where somebody hasn't come up with an idea and done a pretty good job of solving that problem.
Okay.
Now, that doesn't mean that you can't go into that area with competition and make money or have a successful product. It just means you've got to have something that differentiates you from your competitors.
Gotta have the wow factor.
Gotta have the...
Got it.
See, you're getting it. You gotta have the wow factor.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's a lot of ways to have the wow factor. Mm-hmm. But my area of expertise is in like where design and engineering meet.
It is.
And so that's why the software should be personal. Now, there's like other things along those lines, which is for years now, design as like as a thing, like as a concept, design, the people's taste and what people think is great design has been like, must have a design system, must be consistent, must be able to scale with the company so that everybody's using the exact same thing and everything looks the same in the entire app, which is great. That's like a great thing to do. Like you don't want one area of your app to just be like so completely different.
It's like a uniform.
Right.
Got it.
Sure. A uniform. That's a great analogy. However, with uniforms, instead of looking like all the other students, what do you like to do with your uniform to kind of set you apart?
Well, for our 5-year-old, she likes to wear what she calls her fast shoes.
Fast shoes. And what are fast shoes? Accessories. You like to accessorize. And software can do the same thing. But I think for the past few years, people have like sacrificed personalization on the altar of consistency and scale.
Okay.
All right. So that's like idea number 1.
All right.
Software saturated. So like the market is ripe for like needing a way to differentiate themselves.
I got it.
2, people have built apps with like people just hammering on them that good design is consistent. It's always the same. Everything in your app looks so good. And it's been hammered so hard that people have lost like the fun and people have lost like the wow factor, as you have said.
Gotcha.
And the wow factor ends up looking like everybody else's wow factor. Mm-hmm. All right.
Thus, it's a blah factor.
Thus, it's a blah. I'm using that. All right. So, blah factor. Absolutely. All right. Now.
Okay.
Then comes the question. Then it's like the third idea is that, like that kind of got me over the line here is just like personal affinity. Like, what do I enjoy doing? Like, what have I had the most fun doing when I do software? Which is like generative things, like personalized things. So, I've done a few projects in the past. One of them is this, if you go to craftlab.fun. .fun, because it's fun. Software can be fun. Craftlab.fun, and you scroll to the very bottom. There's like, you remember that little hover card thing that I made, where it like was like shimmery, and like when you hovered over it, it like. I made this like maybe 4 or 5 months ago.
I don't think I saw it.
No, you saw it. You 1,000,000,000% saw it. Here, I'm pulling it up right now.
Okay.
All right, we are pulling something up on the internet live.
Live reaction.
Let's see if I can pull this up. Let's see if Allie thinks software can be fun.
Defense. You make a lot of things.
I do.
Keep it all straight.
That's fair. I do make a lot of things. All right, is this looking familiar?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
Okay.
Do you remember the little Rubik's Cube thing?
Because he was so hype about like, look at it, it moves and it like shimmers, and I was like, that's so wonderful. Way to go!
All right. So yes.
I do remember.
All right.
And that's where the cube goes like.
Yeah, nailed it. The cube goes. All right. Okay, so it's got this like little membership card, and on the membership card, the idea is that like when you sign up for this, it was going to be a community. When you sign up for the community, you get a membership card, and it has a custom little animation in the bottom right that is like fingerprinted to your information. Nobody else could have the exact same membership card as you. So it's like your own personal, unique thing. And the idea being that like people will be like, oh, like I'm not joining this community for this, but like, oh, this is cool. Like I would share, like there's not another place that's doing something like this. So like, I'm going to go talk about it. Okay. So it's like, the idea is that you don't just make software fun for the sake of fun.
Okay.
Now fun is, you can.
Yeah.
There's no reason you can't do that. But like trying to get that, trying to be able to like push this in your business. Like I can't just sell content that's like, hey, do this thing because it's fun.
Yeah.
Some people might buy that because they just want to have some fun. But if I can convince people that like, which I believe this, I'm not convincing people of something that's not real. Mm-hmm. If I can convince them that like in this age of software, you are more likely to improve like marketing or like the traction of your business with better word of mouth.
Okay.
And when things are saturated, where are people going to listen to like what if you're looking for like a product and there's like 7 different products that are all kind of similar, and Grace, our neighbor across the street, were
listening to this, Grace.
You were talking to her about it, and she said, "Oh man, let me tell you, this one has this cool little thing, and I think like this one's great." Mm-hmm. Would you then go buy one of the other ones, or would you buy the one that like someone you trust was like, "Hey, you should buy this one"?
I mean, I feel like you know the answer. It would be definitely somebody you trust.
It's a bit of a leading question.
A little bit. That was. Thank you for the.
But right. So that's the idea. The idea is that like by adding these bits of personality to your software, people are more like likely to remember it and recommend your software.
Well, just devil's advocate here.
Hit me.
If it's something too personal, does it then not translate to everybody else? If you make it too specific and it's something Will likes and it just resonates with just Will, how do you then turn around and make that for everybody else?
That's a very good question, and I'm sure some people would pay to have that answered. If I've solved that, if I have a course that says
helping you out,
how can maybe, but like that's the thought process, which is like, okay, cool. Like I want more word of mouth by making my software interesting or unique. Mm-hmm. What are good ways of doing that?
Gotcha.
And I actually have a list. It's funny. Ooh. You should mention that. So I
wish I could say this was all planned.
Well,
it's definitely not.
I have a list that I've been like working on with this.
Okay.
Because this is like I said, this is something I've been thinking about. And there's just like this, it's a very broad range. So I've got a few product ideas.
It's a broad range.
Yes. Okay. So personal, like making software feel personalized. There are a few categories, a few ways that you can approach it to make it feel that way. One is nostalgia. Okay.
Totally.
When you saw that sweatshirt that looked like the 90s Solo Cup,
took me back to Flips.
you smashed that buy button.
R.I.P. Flips and the 90s Solo Cups and the best ranch dressing ever.
Flips is like a little diner that sold like just chicken fingers and fries.
No!
But it burned down. It burned down, so that's why
they had the best fried zucchini. They had great
They
burgers.
had fried zucchinis in the 90s.
It's not like that was anything
Also, our
revolutionary.
son Wilson, I feel like people weren't frying zucchini back in the day. But I
Not
guess
up
that
in
Flips,
Athens,
let me tell you, Flips, really revolutionary. Our son, by the way, calls zucchini zucchini.
Yeah.
So when we go by the store and we're going through the vegetable aisle, he says, "We getting zucchini, Daddy? You get zucchini." All right, back to it.
Anywho, yes, I'm a sucker for the 90s print.
Nostalgia. And everybody has different like things that trigger that nostalgia for them.
Yeah.
And in software a lot, like going back to a more people call it like brutalist, but like the idea of like going back to like Windows 95 or like some kind of like old, it looks old.
Yeah.
An old style. I would not recommend that for the whole app, but if you would like to know how you can include nostalgia in your product, here would be insert for, product idea. Another one is customization. So like allowing your customers to like customize their experience in your software in some way.
I'm like a Burger King. Have it your way.
Have it your way.
Gotcha. All right.
This could be done with like color. Like people could like have different colors for their app. So like this browser that you see right here is called Arc browser. And this like little gradient around the edge is like, I got to choose that and I got to pick the custom colors for it. And it's like, I like it a little bit more because like I got to do that myself. You can do it that way. You can do layout. So like getting to choose, like for instance, in code editors, you could choose to have like, I'm about to lose you. All right. For y'all know, like code editors, like you can have your file tree on the left. You could have your file tree on the right. You could have no file tree. In Apple, you get to choose which order your apps show in your home screen. You can choose what shows on your home screen. Yeah. So that's one way. Another way is like Avatar, where like they can upload your own picture. You can do whatever you want there. Then there are like a whole like plethora of generative things, like I mentioned, where like based on some unique property of a user's account, you can have some sort of like generative customization that's completely unique to them. You can do this through like allowing your software to be extended with plugins. WordPress does this a lot. Arc browser does this a lot. There are many examples. And you can also do this with like customized controls, like hotkeys. So like if
is this the thing that you do on your computer that I'm like, it's not working?
What do you mean?
I pressed some button on here the other day.
And it didn't work. Yeah. Like
how
you can
expected it to.
Yes, like so you
how
can.
A normal, just run of the mill, everyday person.
Right. You can remap things. Like you can set up the app to like have shortcuts that you want, or like with most like websites, like they don't have shortcuts. But if you use it for productivity, like maybe you have the same action that you do over and over. You can assign it like a hotkey. Like that falls under the realm of customization. And then I'm only going to cover one other one, but the other one is like collectibles, which is like what I was talking about with like membership cards. Yeah. Maybe like if you've been a member or like you've owned this software for like 3 years, you get like a custom theme that nobody else gets. Like maybe like you collect things by being a user of their software. Transistor FM, which is how we host this podcast. Fantastic job, Justin. Shout out to Justin Jackson and John Buda. Great software. They
top notch.
2 years ago when I had my first podcast, they didn't have this feature, but I just noticed it this time. You get badges, like little awards for like getting achievements. So like your first, you reached like 50 listeners. Oh, this is your 5th episode. Or like, oh wow, you did it 5 weeks in a row.
Pause. That deals with my profession. That's just reinforcement.
Bring it in.
That's just rewarding essentially behaviors.
Yes.
So I got it.
Yeah. So like these type of things are like ways that you can make your software fun.
Okay.
There is more. I'm not going to share all of them. Otherwise, we'd just be here for talking forever. But like, that's the idea. Allie would fall asleep. That's for sure. So that's like my niche. That's the thing. Like, that's what I'm going to build my content around moving forward, is like this idea that software can be fun and software should be personal. Totally. And that's how it is fun, by making it personal.
Yep.
And what that means is like I have put together like a talk for React Miami that I'm hoping gets picked up, because I think it would be super fun to go to Miami with you.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's a great vacay, but you know.
So that's part of it, is like we could take a trip to Miami. But that talk, if some of y'all haven't seen it, I'll share it in the show notes. I'm working on this like audio visual little device. Like, it kind of brings in a little bit of nostalgia, brings in a little bit of like customization. Yeah. So it looks like this like old school like Game Boy-ish type device. And it records audio and then it like plays it out. And the idea for that talk is to like show people like, hey, it's not this looks crazy. Is to start out with like, hey, here are the foundational building blocks for doing something. Here's like, if you take those to an extreme and do something crazy, like here's the wow factor, which is this little device thing. And then like the final section is what I was talking about, which is like, how can you apply this to like your company today? Like, how can you convince people that you should be allowed to do fun things? This is how. Right. So like that's part of it. So that's one thing I'm going to be doing. The other idea is I'm going to do a directory website, which, do you know what a directory website is? Pinterest is one, for example, where it's like, here's this like giant grid of like things. But Pinterest is like the ultimate directory site in that like it has limitless content and it has no focus. So like you have to be the one who controls the focus. Yep. This content site is going to be called Made for Me.
All right.
And the idea is that like it's going to have a newsletter, so people can sign up to get weekly updates of all the new items in the directory. Okay. And they're going to be very like produced. Like I'll take like the screenshots and like some video recordings of these features that fall into the categories that I mentioned: nostalgia, customization, collectibles. There's 2 more categories I've got so far, which is like sound and motion. And the idea here is that like this will be a directory of like ways that people are making software personal. So when you need inspiration or ideas, you go to this website and you get on the newsletter, so that like you don't have to go and check yourself. Like I just push all the new
here it is
content to you.
Got it.
And by building up a newsletter and getting subscribers, I now have like a list of people who I know care about this content, who care about this like concept of like software should be fun, to then take it to the next level, which is one, like you can, if you have enough subscribers and you have companies who like care about fun software or care about design or whatever the overlaps might be, like once you hit a certain threshold of people subscribed, you can make money by selling sponsors or ads. Got it. So that's one path. The other path that I'm more interested in is like building a course. Okay. So the idea would be like Made for Me is the directory, and then I'd have some course that teaches you how to build these different ideas that you're seeing. So the directory site is just like, hey, look at this cool thing. Okay. The course would be like, here's how to build the cool thing. Okay. Okay. And so people who are super interested in this would then want to be like, oh, like I want to be able to build it. I'm subscribed. I've got this newsletter full of people who are like, I like this stuff. Okay. So like courses, sponsorship ads. Yeah. Who knows what else? But those are like my 2 ideas, which is like build a directory site to start building up a newsletter of people who care about this, and then launch some sort of like course or content that teaches the people who are interested in it how to do it. Okay. Okay. And then use conference talks as like distribution. Yeah. And like as a way of saying like cool things matter. Yeah. And like you don't know who I am, but because you're at this conference, you're forced to know who I am, and like, let me try to wow you.
You're gonna learn today.
Right.
So, but here's a question. I mean,
okay.
How many businesses or companies or whatever are you gonna come in contact with that prioritize fun or wow?
It's a good question.
Because it seems like if you have software, you're trying to accomplish a mission or a goal, and it's not really about the jazz hands.
The jazz hands.
That's what you're talking about. You were talking about the jazz hands.
I am talking about the jazz hands. I'm talking about the jazz hands of software. You're not wrong.
How do you, get these people to say this is actually important and this is going to help you out?
That's what I got to figure out.
All right.
I'm not, I've got ideas,
Always do.
See, go back to the whole thing of like software saturated. So like software being saturated means like it's harder and harder to get noticed.
Yeah.
In social media and areas, like it's hard to get your product to be talked about.
Yep.
So that's how I think I can get businesses interested, is to say like, in this world where software is now, you need to either have like solved the problem so much better than everyone else that people are just like bowing down at how awesome your app is.
Okay.
Or you need to have solved the problem. Like, you still need to have a good product. Like, you still need to solve the problem well. Like, having the jazz hands is not going to distract from not having a good product.
Got it.
But if you know you've got a good product, but you're having trouble being noticed,
yeah,
this is a way to do that reliably, is going to be the pitch.
Gotcha.
And that's what I got to prove.
I think I'm the jazz hands for this podcast for you. So, you're welcome.
Are you
I'm
saying?
helping you
are you
stand
saying?
out.
Are you then saying that I'm the good product?
I mean,
All right. So that's it. That's the idea. I'm going to start building it. Made for Me is going to be my first Laravel application, which Allie doesn't care about at all. But for all of you out there, hopefully that'll be interesting to you. I'm going to need some help because I've never built a Laravel application before, and I've only done JavaScript stuff. So, Jason Beggs, you already offered your help. So ready or not, you're going to be giving it, and as well as like anybody else who wants to jump in and help me build this directory website. I've got a lot of fun ideas, and the fun part about building this site is that
sounds riveting. Come on.
Well, guess what?
Tell me.
The best part is that I get to do things that show off how software can be fun.
Okay.
So, I've got some ideas that I'm not going to tell anybody yet because I want to like surprise people, and I'm going to show you, and you're going to be like, wow, I'm so impressed, Will. I care about software. But for people who care about software and design, it's going to be cool. I hope. And if it's not,
I'd love to know like the Venn diagram of like the people that
that's what I got to and that's what I've got to find out.
Those are your people,
That's
man.
what I got to find out, because there can't be just me. And the reason why, okay, so here's the reason why I also think it's a good idea.
Okay.
As you can tell, she's like so riveted. She just wants this conversation to go on for forever.
There are other things to talk about, I'm sure.
Okay, but maybe. No. Last one. Okay. Final point, which is one reason that this got stuck in my mind is like, you've got to build something that you believe in and you care about. That's rule number one. And I believe in this and I care about it and I enjoy doing it. And if I enjoy doing it, then I can do it long enough to find those people.
Okay.
Because I can't be the only one. 2, in this like little device project that I've been doing, and like some other tweets that I've had, I've gotten more engagement off of like the times that I've shared that project and the times that I've shared these ideas of like, we shouldn't be sacrificing everything at the altar of consistency. Yes. That whole thing, like, that seemed to resonate with quite a few people that I didn't even know. So, and the final piece of this is that with AI coming out, the ability to build software and build ideas that people have are becoming like easier and easier to do.
For sure.
So you've got to have a way of standing out.
You do.
And I think I've got the solution. Well, a solution. Enough of a solution that people would pay for it and be interested in it.
Monetizable content.
Monetizable content. Yes.
AKA, give your software some jazz hands.
Software jazz hands. That's going to be the name of the podcast.
I'm just helping you out, man.
I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on here and letting me talk through it. Anything you would like to discuss before we call this
I think we need
wrap?
to land the plane.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure.
All right. It's been fun. Have a good night.